I am currently waiting on the ground for Anna to come pick me up for our Hobbiton weekend. Today is day one. I think we're just going to Auckland to pick Hannah up and then through to Hamilton, doing some stuff at the gardens, and then the next day it's on to Hobbiton, so come along for a journey. Hello and welcome back to a very long overdue video. I'm sorry for being away for like the past couple of months. I had a lot to do and a very short amount of time to do it. But the good news is I've actually produced a whole backlog of videos, so I won't disappear for a couple of months again, I promise. Sorry! Anyway, with all that being out of the way, I went to International Hobbit Day! Wow! So basically that is a celebration down in Matamata at the Hobbiton movie set, where they celebrate hobbits and Bilbo and Frodo's birthday. And I didn't know it existed until earlier in the year when my friends Hannah and Anna invited me to go along with them, and I'm not passing up an opportunity to go do some Lord of the Rings shenanigans. This video will be split into two parts, but in the same video. The first half of this video I will be making my outfit to go to said Hobbiton adventure, and the second part is said Hobbiton adventure. So without any further ado, let's get ready for Hobbiton. Now originally I had plans of making this entire outfit myself from scratch, but then that time crunch that I mentioned earlier in the video started happening around this time, and unfortunately this was one of those outfits that got sacrificed to it. So instead, I have this skirt that I picked up at the thrift store about 3 years ago, and I decided to build the entire outfit around this. I love this skirt because it's black, like everything else I own, and it has some really cool textures in it. So it's velvet and corduroy, and it's got a really nice circle skirty bottom on the bottom, which means it looks really cool when you twirl because it flares out. So yeah, this is what I built the outfit around. So let's get started. For the corset, I'm using Simplicity S9974. For the outer or fashion layer of the corset, I'm using this black corduroy. And for the lining, I'm just using a black cotton. Let's get started. First I cut out all the pieces of the corduroy, and then again out of the black cotton. Next I interlay the corduroy with a layer of the black cotton for strength and stability. I do this by laying the black cotton on the back of the piece and then basting all the way around the edge. I repeat this process for all of the pattern pieces, and once they're all done I can finally start sewing them all together. I sew all of the panels together except for the very centre front seam, and the two back panels don't get sewn on just yet because I have to do something special to them first. And here's how it's looking. Now onto those centre back panels. So the centre back panels are the only panels which I would call lined in this project. So you cut out two of them, interline both of them, and then sew them together along that line I just showed you. Once that seam is sewn, you then fold it over so both the corduroy sides are poking out, and then you sew along all of those stitch lines there. These stitch lines actually create boning channels, which we now have to do on the rest of the corset. First I have to iron all the seams nice and flat and open. Then I trim away excess fabric in the seam so that the entire seam will be encased in twill tape, which is coming up now. This is the twill tape I will be using to create the boning channels. Now this one's a lot wider than I usually like to work with and a little bit thinner, but it was all that my shop had in stock at the time. To create the boning channels, I cut the twill tape to the length of the seams on the wrong side of the corset, and then I stitch them as closely as possible to the edge of the twill tape, and that's it. That is how you create boning channels. With the boning channels on each side of the corset done, I can now sew that centre front seam together. And after the two sides are attached, of course, I create a centre front boning channel as well. Now, onto the boning. I'm using two types of boning, a flat for the centre front and centre back channels, and a spiral steel for every other one. I cut the boning for each channel slightly shorter than the channel length itself, this way it has room for a seam allowance. So I cut it first, and then I apply these clips, clamps, I'm not actually sure what they are, little caps to the ends of the boning so that it doesn't poke through the fabric. Here's all the bones cut and capped, and now they just get inserted into their corresponding channels. With all the bones in, it's now time to finish the edges of the corset, so to do that I'm using a black velvet ribbon which I fold in half and iron to create a bias tape. First I pin it to the front of the bottom edge and then I stitch that in place as close as possible to the edge using my machine. I repeat the process along the top edge as well, and then I fold the ribbon over and hand stitch it along the inside. Finally, it's time for eyelets. So I have these quite large ones here and they just go in all of the places that eyelets are required. To insert the eyelets, I stab a hole using an old pair of scissors and then I put the eyelets in and hammer them in place, and that's it. It's that easy. With all the eyelets being done, the corset is now ready for lacing, which I don't have in this video, I'm sorry, but it means I can now move on to the shirt, for which I'm using this pattern McCall's 6530. It is a vintage one, I'm sorry, good luck finding it, and I have this lovely embroidered white cotton fabric to use. And for the ruffles, I'm using this white scalloped edge embroidered lace. I'm also using these cute floral buttons, which you don't end up seeing in the final product, but you and I both know they're there, right? Anyway, first things first, let's cut out the pattern pieces. Next, I cut out some white iron-on interfacing, and this will be used to stabilise the area where the buttons go. So first things first, after cutting out all the pattern pieces, is to apply that iron-on interfacing. Next, I sew the front and back pieces together at the side seams. Next, it's time to create ruffles out of that scallop lace. So to do that, I just use a long gathering stitch on my machine and gather it down by hand. I repeat this process 3 times, the first of which goes along the bottom edge of the sleeves. First it gets sewn to the bottom edge of the sleeve, right sides together, facing upward, and then I overlock the edge, trimming it down a little bit, and then I fold that overlocked edge up and stitch along the very top of that seam, and that creates a channel for elastic. I cut the elastic so that it was a comfortable width for where my bicep is, for where it's going to sit on it, and then all that's left to do is use a safety pin and thread it into that channel that I just created. Once the elastic is all threaded through, I then tack the ends in place so that they don't shift back into itself. You get what I'm saying? Then I fold the sleeve in half and sew down the side seam here, and thus creating a sleeve. Next, the sleeves get attached to the rest of the shirt. So here they go in the armhole here, and you sew along that curved edge. With both the sleeves in place, it is now time to apply the last of the scalloped lace ruffle to the top edge of the blouse. Here it is after I've gathered all 4 meters of it down to fit the neckline. That was such a mission. And I sew it along that line there, just like I did the ruffled edge for the sleeves as well, which means overlocking the edge, getting it trimmed back, flipping it up, stitching along that line again, which then in turn creates the casing for the elastic, which then gets threaded through, and then it's all done, and all I have left to do is put the buttons on, and that's the whole shirt done. Let's go to Hobbiton! Hello, it is the morning of Hobbit Day. I am very excited. I did my hair in rollers yesterday after our fun trip to the Hamilton Gardens, which, take a look.
Maybe you're like, as though you're like studying. Oh, wow.
What does it say?
Yay, thank you.
Are you happy with your results?
I'm happy with my results. Thank you very much.
I want all of y'all to know.
Oh, she's like getting hitched to some loose
First
guy.
movie.
First movie.
Oh, it's you.
I want everybody to dance. I'm just like I said. Yeah. And when I say hold yourself,
Wow, that was fun, wasn't it? Then we came home last night, did some skincare.
don't move.
Yeah, it's a nice overcast day today. It was meant to be rain, but thankfully it doesn't look like it's going to rain anymore. Yeah, so we're just getting ready and then we're going to head over to Matamata. Yay! Get it. Where are we going? Go to Hobbit! Woo! This is curls straight out of the curls. Hopefully they drop a little bit before the party, because like, yeah, let's go get some breakfast.
So the first thing we did was find this local eatery near the hotel we were staying in Hamilton, and of course Anna and I played a quick game of Connect 4. Then it was on the road again to Matamata, aka Hobbiton.
I think I'm meant to be a child.
After goofing off first at the eyesight, we then dropped our bags off at the hotel and went out for lunch. After lunch, it was back to the hotel for a quick change, and now
We're ready, and where are we going?
so we went back to the eyesight where we would catch our bus that would take us all the way to Hobbiton. Now unfortunately when we booked it, I actually ended up on a separate bus, which meant a separate tour from Hannah and Anna, but I do catch up with them eventually.
International Hobbit Day once again. But my main job actually is here is to introduce Mark Hadlow. Woo! He might not be a hobbit, but
How are you? Let's all go down this way. And make yourselves at home. This is our home, and our home is your home today. So enjoy, okay?
After being welcomed to Hobbiton by Mark and Russell, it was now time to do the tour of the Hobbiton movie set itself. It was at this point that my tour guide actually let me run ahead to the group in front of me so that I could go take some pictures with Hannah and Anna up at Bag End.
Yeah! Alright, I'll see you. Okay, bye. Goodbye. See you down there.
Now this part of the tour was so cool because they've now built 2 hobbit holes that you can actually go inside of, and they're functioning hobbit homes. This is brand new and I'd never done it on any of the previous tours I've ever done, so it was very exciting. Also shout out to my tour guide for taking all this footage of me because I didn't have Hannah or Anna with me. With the tour part of the trip done, it was now on to the actual party part of the trip and reuniting with Hannah and Anna permanently this time. Basically, the party includes an all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-drink affair, and they have little hobbity marketplaces sold up where they have fresh fruits, fresh cheeses, fresh bread, fresh food, and oh my god, it was magical. I do recommend this if you ever get the chance to visit it.
Just go really fast. And then,
Kelly, how do you feel? How do you feel?
Pretty good, actually.
Pretty good? Yeah.
Hold on. Look how many I got.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So there you have it, that is how I made my Hobbit outfit for Hobbiton. Really like how the whole thing came together. I was really surprised that goth Hobbit worked as well as it did, especially considering I had to base the whole thing on a pre-existing skirt that I already had. I loved all the different textures of the fabrics. I think visually it worked really well and it gave some depth to an otherwise flat black costume. I was a little bummed about the ruffles along the neckline of the collar because according to the pattern it is meant to be a lot wider, but I couldn't find anything as wide as what the pattern was calling for, so instead of being like a nice drapey scalloped edge, it sort of just poked out over top of the corset. The corset itself was extremely comfortable and I cannot wait to make another pattern with that. The only bummer thing on the night is that I had the center front boning come out of the channel, and that's because I used a different twill tape than what I usually use, and it turns out that one just, the quality on it wasn't great, and so it ended up poking through and I pulled it out. But yeah, other than that, great. Hobbiton itself, fantastic. I cannot wait to go back and do that again. I think I'm definitely going to try and make it a bi-yearly trip because it was so much fun. We made so many friends there and it was just a great evening. And everyone was dressed as hobbits, which just makes the whole experience so immersive, because I don't know if you've ever been to Hobbiton on like a normal day during the year. You're lucky if you get one lot of people in your group dressing up in costumes and then everyone else is just tourists, but having everybody in costume was just fantastic, and it just made for such a fun evening. I hope you liked this video, and if you really liked it, maybe consider liking, leaving a comment down below, and if you really liked it, maybe even consider subscribing. I do a lot of sewing, crafting and fun related things here on this content, and I am back, baby! I promise I won't disappear for a few months again. Alright, bye!